It's here! The new set of custom Nintendo Switch controllers, all made by me, also known as the Blood and Bling collection. Get yours now by clicking the link in the description, upper right corner, or comment section. There are only 3 of them, so you better be fast. Now, as we all know, Super Mario Odyssey was a huge hit. It was franchise-changing big, to be honest. And that's mostly because of one thing: the capture ability. The fact that you can become other enemies made this game so great and revolutionary compared to everything else made before. However, there were also a couple of other elements that set it apart, of course. But that's not what this video is about, so I will ignore those. Sue me! Because what I want to talk about today is new enemies that could potentially appear in a sequel and how capturing them could affect the game. Because I have a couple in mind that I would really want to see. So, let's dive right in. Number 5. Now, there were a lot of different enemies in Super Mario Odyssey, even a lot of new ones that had some odd powers which were mostly used for certain game mechanics. But there were some things missing in the end. And one enemy that could play an interesting role in my opinion is the Bob-omb, which are basically living and moving but not breathing mechanical bombs with eyes, feet, and a wind-up key in the back. Now, these guys were first seen in quite a weird Mario game, Super Mario Bros. 2, which was based off another game that had nothing to do with the series. In the end, they were seen more, and served multiple roles in various games, even appearing in some of the Zelda titles. And most of the time, they are enemies who explode upon being irritated, sometimes even chasing after Mario upon seeing him, exploding in a few seconds. So they can be pretty dangerous and also slightly crazy. Now, I would love to see these in a sequel, because they would be great to get rid of any obstacles in your way, for example in a cave level or something. Now sure, we do see the Trapdoodles and Bullet Bills, who are enemies that can also explode things, and were used to get rid of certain obstacles. But the Bob-omb can do more than just that, because they can also be used as weapons, which we see in games like Mario Kart and Super Smash Bros. So maybe it could serve that kind of role in the game, capturing them and using the Bob-ombs as a weapon, or even to load something like a cannon, which is used to solve a puzzle or something. The whole cannon idea is similar to what Nintendo did with the bombs in Breath of the Wild, dropping them into cannons so you can fire things out of them. Stuff like that would be a lot of fun to mess around with, and this is just one of the ideas I have, because you could also introduce their king, who can throw Bob-ombs, which we saw in Super Mario 64, and that could also be used in a game. For example, in a cave where you need to use him to get through a linear section, using the bombs to get past obstacles and take out enemies. Which would be similar in a way to the ending of the first Super Mario Odyssey where you capture Bowser. Something like that would be amazing to say the least, so I think they could bring a lot of new and great things to the table. Number 4. Now, while a lot of classic enemies were seen in Super Mario Odyssey, like the Goombas and Bullet Bills, there was still a lot of them missing. A surprising amount, actually. So of course I have a lot of familiar ones in mind that could be fun to mess around with, and one of those is the Boos, who are really common ghost enemies in the franchise, first being seen in Super Mario Bros. 3, and a lot after that. Overall, they're really shy, but still try to attack Mario when he doesn't look at them directly. Sometimes even using their ghost powers to get to you, like being able to go through walls and becoming partially invisible. However, we never saw them in Super Mario Odyssey. At first, when the game wasn't released yet, I thought we would see them for sure. However, this never happened. Now, this could be because we had already played as one of them in a main series Mario game, because we used the Boo Mushroom in Super Mario Galaxy, allowing us to become a Boo. So that could be a reason for not including them. However, I do want them in the game, because that one power-up wasn't enough for me. Just think about it. They can still play some sort of role in a game like Super Mario Odyssey. The Cap Kingdom would be a great fit. Or if we get a new game, they could add some sort of ghost world where these could be used by the player. Now, in my opinion, they could just take the abilities of the Boo Mushroom and add these to the Boos seen in the game, using that for all kinds of cool challenges and puzzles. They haven't done too many things with that mechanic after all, so I think it would be cool if it came back. One new thing they could do with it is create a section where you need to sneak past a bunch of foes who are looking for you. And then you will have to use the Boo's ability of becoming invisible to get past these enemies. But they could also do more than just that, like some sort of race, which we also saw in Super Mario Galaxy. Here you try to be faster than a character known as the Spooky Speedster. But Nintendo could also just take this idea and allow the player to be the Boo in this scenario. So clearly they could do a lot with this enemy, and I would love to see them in the next one, to be honest. Number 3. Now, water levels are seen in a lot of Super Mario games, so of course Super Mario Odyssey had those as well. In these places, we came across a lot of familiar foes like the Cheep Cheeps, but also completely new ones like the Gushins. However, there were also a number of classic enemies that weren't seen in the game, but I do want to see in the next one. Like the bloopers, who are squid-like creatures that are found in the oceans of the Mushroom World, being seen from the first game onward. Now, in a lot of the games, their role is quite simple, moving around weirdly towards you so they can take you out, although they have some weirder roles in other games. But, surprisingly enough, they weren't seen in Super Mario Odyssey. It looks like the Cheep Cheeps and Gushins kind of replaced them. However, there's still one role they could serve, if Nintendo at least makes levels and sections inspired by something seen in Super Mario Sunshine, because in that game we saw something called a Blooper Racer, and these are friendly, allowing Mario to ride on them. And in the game you can use these in special races where you need to go through a course, being as fast as you can, or to collect coins on the water. So why not bring something like this back? But this time add the Super Mario Odyssey flair to it all to make it new. Sure, the Gushins could also be used to get across the map fast, however controlling them is harder, making them a bad fit for a race of sorts. That's where the bloopers come in, because combined with the genius game design and controls of Super Mario Odyssey, it could be so much better than it was in Sunshine. Number 2. Alright, now we are really getting to the enemies that are rarely used and could serve an interesting role in a game like Super Mario Odyssey 2. And our next one, the Monty Mole, could actually be used to recreate an old game mechanic in a modern 3D game. Because these enemies dart out of holes in the ground to either quickly pursue you, or just to throw rocks. And they also frequently appear in whack-a-mole themed minigames across the franchise, which is a really fun concept actually. However, there's something else Nintendo could do with them if they would bring them back in Super Mario Odyssey 2. And it would also be a lot of fun. Actually, I'm quite surprised they haven't done this yet, allowing you to dig with them. Let's say you capture one of these creatures, and now that you are one of them, you can dig into the ground to find certain secrets, or even explore underground mazes. This would be tons of fun and was actually seen in a really old game as well, but it was in 2D and not 3D. Because in the game Yoshi's Island you can transform into all kinds of things, and one was the Mole Tank, which allows you to dig through soft ground. So what I basically want is a 3D version of this using the Monty Moles. That would be totally gamer epic! But no, for real, it could make for a very unique experience. Just think about it, there's nothing similar to it in the first game after all, and we haven't seen a concept like this in years, let alone in a 3D title. So Nintendo, bring this back. All I want to do is look for secrets underground and explore weird cave networks. Number 1. Now we go to our final one, an enemy that's well known and didn't appear in Super Mario Odyssey, but it can play an incredibly fun role. The Magikoopas who can cast all kinds of spells, and they are even considered to be high-ranking members of the Koopa Troop. Now in the games, these guys can do all kinds of crazy things. So to be honest, the options are almost endless with them. They could be used for so many different levels, concepts, and video game mechanics, it's insane to be honest. For example, they can be used in combat, since they can shoot fireballs, shells, and all kinds of other things, which would also be fun for a puzzle or shooting course of sorts. Now another thing they could do is turn certain blocks into enemies, but they can also do the opposite, opening the doors to even more fun challenges Nintendo can create. In general, the options are endless. They can even fly and teleport around, which we see in titles like New Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario Galaxy. So that could also make a return and play a role in the game. Playing a role in some sort of puzzle or minigame or even challenge of sorts. Heck, they could even make a section where you fly around and shoot fireballs at foes that are coming towards you. That would be completely crazy and out of this world for a Super Mario game. But we've seen many times before that the Magikoopas are pretty powerful and also extremely versatile. So it wouldn't be too surprising. Kamek can also do some completely crazy things after all, and they could also come up with more new powers. It's magic after all, it doesn't have to make sense. So please, Nintendo, Add this if you're gonna make a Super Mario Odyssey 2. I bet a bunch of people would be extremely excited to play as a Magikoopa in a potential sequel for Super Mario Odyssey. Well, I mean, I am at least. Can you even imagine how cool that would be and also different from all the other gameplay elements seen? And maybe those Japanese mad lads will be crazy enough to actually do it. I guess only time will tell. And don't forget, there are more videos in the upper right corner. You can subscribe, and there are some lovely controllers on my web shop, so go check them out.